Hello folks, Popper here. Modern prep tests again. This was recorded a few days ago before this season's RPTQ, so this is the RPTQ prep test series. On the left side of your screen, that's Dredge again, and on the right, that's Affinity. Pretty interesting matchup. I think it's probably much better for Dredge than the Infect one, because Affinity could have not draws, but they are sort of more interactive. I mean, you get to interact way more, and unlike Infect, Affinity doesn't really have protection spells and such. And even though they have Edge Champion, but it requires cranial plating to actually make a lot of damage. Well, or Ravager, but still, um, quite often you can go wide as Affinity, I mean with Dredge, and you can have a bunch of Narcomoebas to block their Inkmoth Naxai, so there is that. He starts with Naxai into Springleaf Drum. That's a very fine start, not super explosive though. I go for Blood Crypt into Faceless Looting, pitching an Imp and the Loam, which is quite alright. That means if I have next turn Reunion, I can go completely bananas here. So he would really need a very sick hand, ideally, but it doesn't look like there is one. There's just another Nexai and attacking with the first one. But yeah, here is not done here just yet, so there's an Ornithopter, but I guess nothing to do with that mana, I suppose. Okay, dredge the Imp, dredge Narcomoeba, troll something else, dredge a Amalgam, dredge a Ghast, so yeah, like very good dredge I would say. Now I just like play lands, get Bloodghast into play as well. I'll have end of turn Amalgam, so pretty much going off here. So I did like playing this deck at the RPTQ. I'm not sure my list was okay, but I kinda liked it. I digged it. Even though mine was very close, I guess, to a stock Magic Online list, which was circulating at the beginning of the month and the week before that. So you can pretty much take that as a base and go from there. The modifications or the differences between the deck lists normally involve either you have Bajoka Bog in the sideboard or you have the Leyline of the Void, something for mirror match, and then it's about how many spot removals you want to have. It's about, do you have Collective Brutality at all? Do you want Fought Seas instead as a way to interact with fast combos? Stuff like that. So I do cast Reunion here, actually pitching Conflagrate and the Imp I just dredged. So I'll have Troll first, Dredge, then at least Imp, and then Loam if I completely miss on anything. Okay, so not Amoebas yet, because I pitched an Amalgam here. Okay, Imp going. So, well, I'll have a Bloodghast at least next turn to trigger this Amalgam or both of them if this one dies, that I think it won't. Okay, another Imp, I pitch another Ghast there, so my next turn is likely going to be quite interesting. I'm not sure if I have a third land in hand or whether I would have to, dredge low, but I'm definitely kind of going off here. There's not much else I may ever want. I have not just one but two Conflagrates in the yard, so let's say if he goes wide and spams the board, then I can really deal with it, unless it's, Ravagers and edge champions and stuff like that. Goes Moxipal and Mates both next side, but the thing is that I'm gonna be blocking one. I'm already at 1 poison, but that doesn't matter. I go to 2 and trade with 1 with the Amoeba, so there is that. But without plating, his clock is not really that good. It's too slow and nothing much on the ground. I think I dredged the loam here because I needed the lens for the cast. This attack is pretty safe here. Don't think it really matters. Yeah. I think I loam here, get a land. Because I think I dredged for... What? Dredged for 3 here with a loam? Or did I have it already in hand? No, I did have a 3rd land in hand. Did I just forget to trigger that Amoeba that I pitched? What could I have possibly pitched it to? I know, it just died. What am I talking about? It just died blocking Nexus, so there is that. Yeah, so I guess I didn't have to dredge long because I had the land in hand already. There is that. But there's a chance that, well, I'm gonna flashback looting here anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter that much. I mean, the order, I think the order is fine because I can't really hold on to those guests. Okay, a couple amalgams are triggering because there are a couple black guests coming in, and now I can really go bananas even though I don't really have to. Well, this looting is actually, well, firmly removed from the game, and I'm just stacking with those amalgams. So yeah, dredging some loams and imps and stuff like that, and trolls, I think. There's never looting in there, but I don't think I need a whole lot anymore in this game. I can only start dredging when I actually need to flip something. Well, there is a Scorch Devil, it's a thing, but I think from now on it kind of makes sense to just keep on dredging the loam so that I can, you know, win with 2 gigantic conflagrates, for example. Or clean some blockers. He doesn't really have much ways, at least for main deck, to deal with all this. And even the Whip Flare is normally just as a 1-off, sometimes 2-off in the sideboard of Affinity, so it's not a huge factor here. In my opinion. Yeah. Conflagrate is just so nasty. One of the reasons why I think Infect right now is better among many others, because you're not really subject to Conflagrate or, well, yeah, or Anger of the Gods that much, for that matter. You have ways to protect your stuff, at least. Okay, there's a Glimmer Void. At least there is mana, but where is action? I don't have flyers, so I'll go to 3 poison, but that's fine. And then there is Ravager. I guess he tried to calculate whether he could have poisoned me down with the oh, okay, so yeah, I think he was a little bit short, because I already had 2 poisons. Yeah, we're just now trying to calculate here whether he had enough, if he would have played the Ravager before combat. I think he was a bit short. Yeah, now we're just trying to make sure that he didn't have a win right there. I don't think he had. He was just a bit short, like 1 or 2 off or something. So he could have taken mana, cast the Ravager, um, animate Naxai, play the Snubber Mox Opal. Ravager will be at 2 basically. Then he could have used that Opal to animate the Naxai. Yeah, Ravager should be at 2 here because yeah, 2 and then 3, 4, 5, 6. Ravager at 6. That means 7, 7 Nexi. So 1 short. Yeah, 1 short. He was actually 1 short because I'm at 2 poison here and not at 3. But of course, if I would have been unlucky with those Nerk Amiibos, then I would have been dead by now. Because I'm totally shields down, pretty much. And, yeah. So, we just fast forward to give a board state that was the way he presented it the first time. But yeah, if he would have had, I don't know, like a Vault Scourge or something instead of this pesky Ornithopter, then he would have had Lethal here, actually, Exacties, because of the pump from the Scourge. From the... Not the Vault Scourge, I mean from the Signal Pest. Well, Vault Scourge will also do it, of course. Well, or would it? No, it wouldn't. So, yeah, he needed a single pest there. Or something like that. And I'm not sure, I kinda have a feeling that this was a build without Footcast. Or maybe it just seemed like it because it rarely ever appeared. Well, of course I'll take my worst back if I'll see it in this match. Anyways, things are excellent for me because even though there was a slim chance for Affinity to win here, but it didn't happen, now I get an Amoeba from Dredging, so I'm actually, I guess, digging here for Scorch Devil or something for Lethal. Something like that. Though, oh yeah, I think I didn't have it actually, didn't actually have it there. So it doesn't really matter, but yeah, Loam into getting lands, into conflict rates, this is basically what I'm going for here. I think it's correct just to conflict rate after combat. Wait, what? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? Yeah, I quickly correct myself and realizing that this would have been super dumb. Yeah. So what I should have done there is attack with all the 6 crown guys I had. So I think that's 3 amalgams and 3 bloodghasts. He only has 2 blockers here. Anyways, well, yeah, still just 2 blockers. And it's correct to actually conflict rate post combat, just so that nothing goes to no damage goes to waste. Even if he blocks 2 amalgams, that's already 6-9, and then I can just 6 to face, 6 plus even. I think, yeah, there is that. Yep, 1 point short. So, and with pretty naughty draw from me actually. So a bit more like from Affinity would have been that, but even though this seemed kind of very close, but I think overall the matchup is quite okay, and especially, well, sideboard is crazy because of claims and grudges and stuff like that and all the spot removals, but he could have some nice toys too, like the Evergreeds, that's red enchantment, that would allow him to actually keep on pinging my 1 toughness guys if he gets to go wide. Then I don't think Blood Moon does much here, but two whip flares are definitely good. Just to keep my board in check. Even though they're amalgams, but whatever. Whatever. That's alright. Whip flare still does quite enough. I think siding now just a few one-offs. I think at that moment I had 4 loams in a deck, so very safe to cut 2. Then conflict rate is still okay. It's also something to just finish the phase. So just go the distance a turn earlier, just to not give your opponent any chance to come back. And also sideboard at this point had quite a few grudges, so that's of course a big plus. But because the hate is so diversified across different archetypes, it's not great to have a bunch of grudges in your sideboard, that's for sure. Because you never know. Well, let's okay. In some matchups, you know, but you never know what would be the spectrum or the meta for the event you're going. You can't know 100%. So there could be a bunch of decks with ley lines in it, or it could be decks with cages, so it's hard. One good thing to consider, I guess, is Abruptikin out of the sideboard kills Scavengers or Rest in Peace or the Cage, and sometimes Infect creatures, for example, but then it can't kill Naxos because the case has no land, so that's something to remember. So yeah, generally you can take out maybe sometimes some conflict rates, but rarely. Often you can take out some loans and then you just take some one-offs of the discard outlets, basically, and it's good to keep track of that. And it's good to have those Lightning and Collective Brutality in your sideboard because they're acting as removal / discard outlets. So they're basically replacing some of the outlets you take out when sideboarding. So that is an issue. You need to keep track of all those things and types of cards so that you don't dilute your deck that much, so that it still works more or less smoothly. But yeah, a lot of cards you could bring here in this matchup. Although the version that I played at the qualifier had just one grudge and one grudge, 3 claims and 1 Golgari Charm, which is also pretty nice here. Just killing all the all of the 1 toughness guys, but it's not that bad because your stuff jumps back and then it's an instance, so you can play around it yourself. But being an instance is really important because then you catch them when they activate the Nexi and attack with all the small stuff. So definitely something that I would board in this matchup. And Golgari Charm basically acted in my sideboard as a 4th Nature's Claim with some options. And for the same reason, I actually ended up playing Collective Brutality over Thoughtseize, even though I thought about it. But, for the match in the top 8 that actually mattered, I would have preferred to have a couple of Thoughtseizes in my sideboard, but overall Brutality just does so much across so many matchups that I think overall it's worth it, but I wouldn't have known, and also against the Tron that prevented me from getting an invite. I would have loved to have Tech Edge or Ghost Quarter that I took out from the build that I think is still in this deck. Yeah, and I had ley lines instead of bazookas, so I think it may be right to just play a couple of bazookas and Tech Edge slash Ghost Quarters in the sideboard for Tron, because it could be quite nasty indeed. Probably I would just play 2 Ghost Quarters and no Tech Edges, and I still don't like 4 Loams, I think. And instead I think in that kind of slot, the flexible ones, I just played yeah, so the Scourge Devil and also the one of Simeon Spirit Guide that never actually got to be relevant, because when I drew it I actually had good sequences anyway. Okay, so Dredge, Amoeba, and Amalgam, I guess, coming in. I think I just played the Reunion or something that turn. Though I'm not sure, that seems like not too many cards that I dredged. I guess it was just looting or something. I could be mistaken. Sorry for that. He has pretty good board now here. Opal, couple of Nexus, still Overseer. I think that's Master of Ethereum. Yeah, I think so. That's Master, and an Ornithopter. So yeah, his board is pretty impressive. So that it doesn't really looks good for me at all. Okay, I hit another amoeba from this dredge, which is alright. Bear in mind that Amalgam is a must trigger unlike Bloodghast, so you could have some awkward situations against, for example, Tron with Ugin. So there is that. Okay, here is another land that triggers Bloodghast, that triggers Amalgams. Alright. Oh no, I actually didn't have Amalgams, apart from the one I have in play already. Okay, Conflagrates, and basically if I just drop my hand, which is 6 or 7 cards, I can do something like 2 to Seer, then 3 to Master, no, 3 and 3 or something like that. That's what I did, I suppose. Yeah. Okay, I'll have 2 Amalgams coming end of turn, I think. Or would I? No, I wouldn't, because they didn't trigger. Oh, that was a misplay. I could have Flashback Conflagrate, discard the Amalgams, and then play the land and return Bloodghast so I could have triggered the Amalgams. So that's a misplay, but well, I'm firmly ahead. So I was able to kill Master plus Overseer, because once Overseer is dead, then Master is a bit smaller, so it's actually burnable, let's say. I think what I did was, so yeah, I think I discarded 6 cards. I think I did 3 and 3. Yeah, I did 3 and 3. Because Overseer was actually 3 and 3 because of the Master, yeah. That's how it went. He's trying to see if there is any future here. Well, without the Whiffler or Plating, I don't think there is any future for him in this game. Um, and plating Nexus isn't out because my flank blockers are tapped, and I'm probably not attacking with them next turn, unless I would have to force him to block or stuff like this. So I'm kind of hurrying him up here. I don't know what could have been his plan. He's kind of like one short to animate equip. Okay, he just plays Ravager. But I kind of think he has a plating in hand. Or maybe it just looks like it. Well, Ravager is something, but I don't think that's enough. Not quite enough. Not quite enough. He would need to draw another artifact or land just to try to do something. Okay, Dredge Loam hit an Archamoeba. There are some amalgams coming out. Casting Loam, getting lands back. Then I can flash back. I think the second conflagrate from a graveyard for 2. That would possibly kill something. No, I just... Oh, okay. So that was a bit silly, and I didn't have to take that damage. Yeah, I just figured out that burning whatever is not really a good proposition, at least not before combat. I attack with the team that's having 3 guests, 2 amoebas, and then the priced attacking, so he's probably blocking amalgam, I think. And also that was dumb with it when attacking with a bunch of guests to play a land before combat. I just wanted that conflagrate for 2 would have done something, but not really. But this is why I actually playtested with this deck across a few matchups, so that I don't do misplays like that. Of course I did mistakes at the RPTQ, but I think way less than I could have if not for this test series and all this practice. It's like I played a lot with Dredge as an archetype in the Legacy format, but not really that much in Modern. And while there are certainly very many similarities, but there are also very many not similarities. I mean, amalgams and stuff, and conflagrates are not a very familiar territory to me before this month. So he unblocked, went down to 5. But now he is really short on artifacts. I kept 1 Archamoeba because I didn't have lethal damage anyway. And I think the smart thing to do was just to, get a big conflagrate next turn. He had plating, he had greed, he had champion, but it's all like too slow and he didn't have good board presence. Thank you guys, see ya.